Okay, so this guide is actually going to be a simplified combat guide for people who are just completely 100% new and they're like, what the fuck am I looking at? Alright, so first thing we're going to go out here, red bar, stamina, blue bar, chakra. Green bar, this is your progress bar for you getting your points on a daily every single day. Alright, the way this is going to work is currently it's on a 22-hour timer. I probably should have told you that, but fuck it. You should figure it out yourself. It's not that hard. Anyway, next thing to keep in mind is once you progress, which you get progress in this bar by being active, which means by using say, by using the roleplay verb, by playing the game and being active, this bar will naturally raise itself throughout time passing. That was a shitty, that's a crappy way of saying it, but whatever. As long as time passes and you're active, this bar raises. Simple as that. When this bar hits the max level green and it completely maxes out, you will be hit with a message in this black area down here which says you have received your daily blah 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 or whatever. Okay? Alright? Now, when you first start out, you're able to get like 2 of these a day and you get more points. The more points you get, that slows down, and then you get to a point where you can only gain 1 of them a day. So you only get like the 22-hour period becomes effective, where it's like, oh, I got my daily, okay, I won't get another one until 22 hours the next day. All right. Now there's a catch-up mechanic. Real quick to explain that catch-up mechanic. In order to take advantage of the catch-up mechanic, you must miss a full period. Okay, so that means, let's say if it was 24-hour period or whatever. Let's say your time period to normally get your daily when it becomes where it becomes unlocked happens at like 6 p.m. right? Let's say 6 p.m. Tuesday, your crap becomes unlocked. All right, cool. If you don't log in at 6 p.m. Tuesday to get it, and you'd say you log in and I don't know, like 3 p.m. Wednesday, you have not missed a full daily period, so you don't get the catch up. You don't get the catch up on that, which means that effectively you were just super late. If you waited all the way until 6 p.m. again on that Wednesday instead of like at 3 p.m. on Wednesday, and you waited the full 24 hours, you have effectively missed a full window period. Which then, when you log on Wednesday at 6 p.m., you're going to be awarded a catch-up bonus because you've missed 1 full period. I'm not going to go into detail about what you can do with that. That's just for your own knowledge. People can, a lot of people ask questions about that. Okay, going through this bar real fast. Clan, no clan. If you're a clan, you'll see something here. Age, this is your class. You go from villager to academy student to Genin, Chunin, special Jonin, Kage. If you get Kage, probably nobody's going to get that crap anyway, but whatever. Village, what village you are. Affinity, this does not matter, okay? This does not matter. It used to be relevant. I don't know why it's still here. It really doesn't matter. As far as your affinity goes, if I'm correct, the way it works now is your affinity, you can't learn jutsu past a certain rank that you don't have an affinity for. I think that's how that works. And so to set your affinity whenever you're ready to do that, you just get some chakra paper and you pick whatever affinity you want, and then you can get jutsu beyond that rank of, like, I think B, or it might be A, I'm not sure. You gotta double check. I'll put it in the comments once I figure out exactly what it is. Okay, so this is going to be your points. This is your total points that you've accumulated over the course of your character. The bottom number is going to be out of your maximum total that you've had, and this number is going to be what remaining you have to spend at the moment. Okay, when you press this plus button, you come to your stats. Okay, strength, agility, stamina, endurance, speed, and control. Okay, now the reason I bring this up here is because I want to bring them up as I go into the combat handbook. Right, this video is probably going to be 2 videos because I really don't know if I can go through all this in one setting, but we'll see. Okay, so starting with combat here. All right, we're going to start with the first part, and we're just going to try to make this super simple. Okay, first thing, it just says that if people want to, you can use freeform. I'm going to go ahead and let you know, freeform is really risky. If you're doing freeform, it probably better not be a life or death fight, and it probably better be with somebody who you consider to be a friend, who isn't an arguer, because otherwise you're going to get in some kind of argument, and it's not fun to be an argument. Like, That's why the rules exist, to avoid these arguments. It's not to cut back on your shonen ability and you being able to use your imagination and strategy and all that stuff. It's literally to try to prevent 10-hour arguments that used to happen all the time. Alright, so the basics, okay? Combat takes place in turns that take place during a round, okay? All actions performed during a turn resolve simultaneously at the end of a round, okay? To explain this, this means that I'm going to use an example here, alright? So, there's a very nifty verb that exists now, and it's called position marker. You should really, really take advantage of it, okay? If I press position marker, it puts a person, a clone, basically, of where I was for people to see, okay? Now, when it says turns are simultaneous, guys, what that really means is that if I use an action, let's say I attack Paul, okay? So, first thing to keep in mind, when I attack Paul, this is an attempt. This doesn't mean that it's going to go through at all. This is what I am attempting to do on my turn, is attack Paul. And I can say with my fist, okay, which would be taijutsu, okay? So I'm attempting to attack Paul with my fist, okay? Paul, it is still the first round. Paul can respond to my attack with his own roleplay if he so chooses and desires. Paul can ignore my roleplay of me attempting to hit him with his fist and do something entirely different if he wants. And then at the end of that round, because Paul is the last action, everything resolves at the same exact time. Oh, also, because I posted a roleplay, there you go, you can see this. See, this is how it works at the beginning. You rewarded, I roleplayed till the bar filled up. That's kind of, yeah. So anyway, if I were to move in my turn towards Paul, let's say I move like right here, right? I move right in front of that. That's my turn. I'm moving 5 spaces to run, go punch Paul in the face. If Paul, during the same turn, moves 5 spaces back, my punch doesn't happen because me and Paul are moving at the same time. I move 5 forward, he moves 5 back. We still have a distance between us, which means I can't effectively punch Paul anymore. So that part of my roleplay is invalid, and I don't get to re-roleplay that. Like, that was just my turn. I wanted to punch Paul, he moved back, I just wasn't in range. When it says turns have no specific order, it does not mean that you can just post willy-nilly whenever you want. That is, I know it sounds confusing, but just for all intents and purposes, ignore that. When that is in there, that is referring to specific situations where it's kind of talking about, like, I'm trying to think of a way of explaining this. There's really no way to explain it, honestly. It just there's no specific orders. But again, that don't try to post out of turn. If you do have a turn order, you can talk about turn order before a fight begins to make it really, really simple. So for all intents and purposes, just kind of ignore that. As simple as put. Okay, stats. This is why I have this open here. Okay, so stats start at E, except for stamina. We'll get in that later. And they move all the way from E all the way to eventually S plus. Okay? Here's the thing about stats. Most important thing to keep in mind. Your stats, if you don't get any perks, if you don't get any random buffs, and you just put points in a stat, every single stat you have has a max cap of B plus. That is it. That is the highest any particular stat can go, is B plus. When you throw perks on top of it, you're allowed to move past that B plus cap, but only as much as the perk allows you to. So the perk says 1 step. 1 step is 5 points. That is how much a step is. Okay? Now, while I've got everything here, I'm going to go ahead and just break down... Well, actually, I can't, unfortunately. Oh, no, I do have a point. No, I don't. Anyway, I'm going to break down every step real quick, real fast. Strength, okay? Strength is going to be for your taijutsu users, people who want to, like, maybe use swords, things of that nature. Guys, if you don't, for any reason, need to try to punch past somebody's endurance, if you don't need strength to try to lift a sword, don't put points in this stat, okay? Base damage that you do to somebody, regardless of whatever strength is light damage, unless they have body or monstrous body perks, Okay, so that means that most characters in the game, if you manage to land a successful punch on them, the damage they take is going to be light no matter what. Don't put points in strength unless you are a taijutsu user who specifically needs that. And I'll go over all the different how stats kind of work in the different classes later or whatever. But I'm just kind of throwing that out there now. We'll do that. Endurance. Okay. This is going to be very controversial. So I really don't kind of know how exactly to phrase this. But as far as endurance goes, realistically, you don't need points in endurance unless you are somebody with body or monstrous body. You can, in the cases where endurance is going to save your life, actually I'll put it this way. Not having endurance is like playing a dangerous game, but with high payoffs if you win, and very bad payoffs if you lose. If you want to put points in endurance, sure, go ahead and do it. Honestly, I guess you could kind of consider putting endurance kind of like maybe playing the game on like an easier mode in a sense, because you're giving yourself more room to make mistakes. But if you know you don't make mistakes in combat very often, you really don't need points in endurance. It's just a waste. That's kind of how it works. Agility. Okay, agility factors into defending from taijutsu. It factors into attacking with taijutsu. It factors into attacking with weapons. It factors into a lot of stuff, and we'll go through it as soon as we get to the points that's relevant for it. Speed is all about just like whether or not like you can dodge certain techniques, how fast you move, your tile movement speed, simple as that. And again, all that we'll get into. Stamina and control, these are the two founding fathers of what your chakra will be. Okay, your control and stamina need to be even with each other. They need to be even with each other, excluding perks. So I'm gonna try something here and see if it works. I'm not sure if it will. Oh, it won't, because I can't put 10 points in this thing. There's no fucking way. Okay. But yeah, that's basically how. Actually, I think it does work. Let me see here. 1 second. Fuck no, I capped at 3. There's no way it's happening. All right, cool. Well, yeah, I'll get into the. All right, I'll get into that in a minute. Okay, cool. So yeah, all stats naturally cap at B, which I went over. Okay, all of these are your tabletop buttons. We're gonna go through these real quick. Strength, agility, stamina, endurance, speed, control. All of these just flash the stat. Okay, that's all it is. Big key factor. If somebody asks you to flash a stat, okay, you can flash stats that are lower than your actual highest value of that stat. Just be warned that if you flash a lower stat, you can be punished for it. You can be punished for it because depending on what they do roleplay wise, if you don't have a chance to, if it's something that like directly responds to the stat you flash, for that roleplay, it's as if you have that stat. So a good example of this is going to be like hand seal speed. You can't flash a lower hand seal speed and then have somebody try to interrupt your lower hand seal speed and then be like, psych, I got a faster hand seal speed. It doesn't work like that. Whatever you flash is taken into accordance for that particular roleplay. Now, if you survive that roleplay, then fuck it. I mean, sure. And I guess maybe you can do something cheesy with it later. But it's very risky to do it, and I would advise new players not to do it. Okay? Chakra just shows your chakra value. I mean, there's really no point in doing that, honestly. I'm gonna be real. It comes in like specific niche cases. Add drain chakra. This is what you're going to use in fights whenever you're draining chakra for techniques. Same with stamina techniques. I'm going to click on it real quick. I don't think this does anything. What the fuck? What does this do? Holy shit, did he add a freaking... Wait, hold on. Input the step difference between damage and endurance. No, I don't think he did. I think this is still difficult, isn't it? Okay, well he's... Alright, Xerath is kind of a troll. Alright, cool. Alright, so there's apparently a damage button. I don't know how long this has been in there, but I've never seen anybody use this at all. I mean, once you figure out... But You'll see why later. Okay, cool. Dodge, I don't think does any. I'm gonna click on these buttons actually and see. Defense. Defense does nothing. Okay. Dodge does nothing. Injure, if you do something to somebody and they take like one of these injuries, you can put the injury on their actual profile. So if I was to hit myself and click injury, I could do like a permanent injury or something. I could say has a bruise on their face. Okay. So once I do this, I have this injury. All right. And if anybody clicks on my profile and they go to injuries, they'll see that I have a bruise on my face. Alright? Don't give yourself permanent injuries lightly. Or don't let people, I mean, like, I don't think you can get rid of permanent injuries, guys. So just keep that in mind. You can't get rid of them. So if you do have to have a picture of a dick on your face, well, okay then. That's your life. You chose it. Kill only works if you're surrendered. You probably don't need to. This button is self-explanatory. If you beat somebody in roleplay, and then you roleplay killing them, and they surrender, hit the surrender verb, you can technically hit the kill verb, and they will be dead. And it'll say, blank has been killed by blank. Okay, alright. Damage and injuries. All of this right here, gonna make it super, super, super simple for you, so you don't have to think about reading any of this hard text, okay? So, real quick. Damage in this game, no matter we're talking strength or we're talking ninjutsu damage, okay? It's always going to be grades, or it's always going to be letters versus letters, okay? So that means if we have B versus, like, D or whatever, the way the damage works is one grade is 3 steps, okay? So to go from D to C, it's D, D plus, C minus, C. So to get from D to C, that's 3 steps. 1, 2, 3. That's going to be a total grade, okay? Now, B versus D, it's 2 grades. 2 grades difference. The way that damage works is whatever the damage is, it's damage minus your endurance. This chart, massively confusing. I know. Trust me. But it's damage versus endurance. So whatever that is. So whatever that difference is, that is the damage that you take. So if you were to take 2 grades of damage, which is 6 steps, 6 steps is overkill. You're instantly dead, right? Or you're defeated. You don't actually die unless they want to kill you. So I don't really know a better way of saying it, but if the difference between 2 techniques is 6 steps, which is 2 grades, you're already defeated. If it's 5 steps is an instant defeat. 4 steps is a critical injury. 3 steps is a heavy injury. 2 steps is a moderate. 1 step is a light. None is a petty. And if you're over it, then you would take none. Okay? None means you take no damage whatsoever, right? So if you have C plus endurance and they do C damage, right? You take none. However, there is a clause that goes along with all of this stuff. And that clause is that no matter what, except for these 2 instances I'm about to talk about, you must always take a minimum, if you take any damage, of light injury. So that means that even if you had A endurance and they had hit you with E damage, like the E strength I was talking about before, they still take a light injury. Unless they have body or monstrous body. Now, body is going to make it so that the lowest that they can take is going to be a petty. So in that case where you have more endurance than their damage, they take a petty injury. Monstrous body is going to make it so that if they have more endurance than your damage, they take nothing whatsoever. So body and monstrous body are the two cases where this clause of a minimum of light damage factors. Okay? Alright. Note, next thing to keep in mind for injuries. Okay? Injuries stack. And realistically, it's kind of cool if you think about it in a way. Because if you were to take a light injury to the face, right? And then the person hits you with another hit or whatever, and it's going to be another light injury, you don't actually take a light injury to the face. You end up taking a heavy injury to the... Excuse me. You end up taking a heavy injury to the face. And even though you're at a grand total... so this will be like 4 steps, basically. This is considered... or whatever. It's considered like you've taken 4 out of your total 6 that you can take before you basically lose the fight in terms of the right hand, but we're going to ignore the right hand side of the screen. So just focus on the left hand side. This is all really what you need to focus on, okay? So you've taken 2. That's what the light injury is. Light injury is going to be like kind of like... Yeah, light injury is going to be... I'm using it, fuck it. Light injury is going to be 2 out of 6, alright? A heavy injury is going to be 4 out of 6. In terms of like how much effective like HP or how much damage you can take, right? But the funny thing about it is, if this fight were to end right here, yes, you didn't get defeated, but as far as your injuries go, you have 2 separate injuries that have to heal themselves now. This light injury to the face, which is going to take time to heal, and this heavy injury to the face, which is going to take time to heal. So it's kind of cool because you have varying levels of injuries on your body, which adds more to the roleplay, I feel like. I really like that system. I think it's really cool. Okay. Alright, speed and evasion. Here we go, boys. This is very, very important. Okay? Alright, so imagine every single space, every walking space you make in this game, every tile is 5 feet. That is how every single tile works. So if a jutsu says that it's 15 feet wide in distance, that means that it's actually going to be 3 tiles. And tiles start out centered in front of you for most jutsu, which means that it's actually going to be 1 tile in front of you, 1 tile to the left in front of you, and 1 tile to the right in front of you, which is a grand total of 15 feet. Okay? Now, to avoid projectiles... Like, let's say somebody throws weapons at you or whatever. Let's say they throw the weapons at D speed, right? Or a D accuracy, we'll say, to make it more precise. If you have D plus speed, you get to completely avoid the weapons. You just completely avoid the weapons. But if you have D plus speed, and they use a D plus accuracy, you actually, this is very hidden because a lot of people don't pay attention to this one, you reduce the damage that they were going to do to you by 1 step. Which means if you were going to take, I guess, if you were going to take like D damage from it, you now go down to you now go down to D minus damage, which is kind of useful sometimes, and it can be used to save your life. This works with ninjutsu as well, and there's some ninjutsu that even have specifies that you can dodge with agility. So keep that in mind. Alright, tile movement. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and set the bar straight real fast for this, and this may be, I hope this isn't me making a rule, but there is something that's been used for a while that I feel like needs to be addressed because I don't think admins have said anything about it, and I've seen people do it different ways, okay? So, if I'm standing here and I move backwards, I lose -1 from my grand total tile movement, alright? So if I were to type in tile movement, it shows I can move 2 tiles a turn. If I'm in a fight and the person is in front of me, like let's say this icon right here is who I'm fighting, and I move back for this turn, once you move back, it's only 1 tile you can move for the rest of the turn. 1 tile only. Or sorry, that's only 1 tile worth of actions that you would have left to do. Now, if I wanted to attack, attacking consumes a tile of movement as well. Okay, so if I were to attack and move forward, that also consumes a tile movement. There are a lot of things that reduce tile movement, like a lot. You have to keep in mind that you just have to read the jutsu, read the taijutsu, read everything that you're using carefully, because if not, it's gonna get messy. But I will say, there is this thing that I see people do where you move diagonally, okay, or diagonal, whatever you want to call it. I've had some people say that that's considered moving backwards, and I've had some people saying that's not considered moving backwards. For the purpose of this video, unless I post it in the comments otherwise, consider that if somebody is moving diagonal and you are facing them, so that like they are basically having to move backwards versus you, that they are moving backwards. I think that is probably the way that is intended. I'm not 100% certain, and if there's anything different, hopefully somebody tells me, an admin, so I can just put a comment below or whatever. Your tile movement is reflective of your speed. Now, tile movement only goes up at each grade. So if E grade speed is 2 tiles, D grade is C. I'm sorry, I said that completely wrong. That was bad. Alright, I'm just going to type this out. D grade is going to be 3 tiles. C grade is going to be 4 tiles. B grade is going to be 5 tiles. A grade is going to be 6 tiles. And if you reach S for whatever reason, that's 7 tiles. Now, what that means is there is no difference between D plus and C minus from D. There is no difference from D plus and C minus from C. You only see differences in changes of speed as far as tile movement goes at solid letters. D, C, B, A, and S. Alright. I've already gone over chasing somebody and all that stuff, and tile movement is simultaneous, so I'm not going to go into that. This shit is long. I am probably going to cut it off soon and just do a second video, because holy fuck. Alright, taijutsu techniques. Taijutsu techniques drain stamina. I think some give you the option to pick between stamina and chakra. To do all that, whenever you have a technique, all you literally do is you just go here, you hit drain, and then you pick whatever grade it is. Or you hit drain stamina and pick whatever grade it is. If somebody reaches 0 chakra, they instantly get KO'd. So if somebody uses like unless they have a perk that specifies or otherwise, if they hit 0 chakra, they're instantly KO'd. They're just completely done. Like, if they run out of stamina as well, they're KO'd as well. So if they drain all their stamina, they are KO'd just the same. Alright? Just as an added thing to throw in here. Actually, I'm not even going to throw it in. Alright. I'm going over stats one more time, and then I'm cutting the video here, because this thing is getting really long, and it seems like this is going to take multiple videos to go through. Holy shit. Okay. Real quick. All these stats, like I said, they all go up by letter grades. And the 2 stats I'm going to talk about real quick, because I don't think they get gone over in the guide, is going to be stamina and control, okay? Control is very important because it allows you to learn higher techniques. So there are techniques in the game that require, like B rank techniques, some require C plus control, okay? So that means that you need the control in order to be able to learn them. And the second thing is, as far as your chakra goes, your chakra is always going to need to have high amounts of chakra. You need to have stamina and control that are equal to each other. So if you have D stamina and A control, your chakra is going to be D chakra, because it's literally the minimum of either one of them. That is your default base chakra level. You need to raise them both to increase your chakra. There's special cases where that doesn't happen, and that's in perks And that's a whole nother freaking video. I still got to get through the whole freaking Shinobi Handbook, and this is long. So I'm cutting this one here, and I'll do another one probably, I don't know, I'll do another one soon. Okay, cool.